Hi everybody, I am back with another look at some of my favorite DVDs. Just gonna have some nice rambling about them for you to put on in the background and hopefully help you relax while you do whatever you need to do today. So my dad showed me this movie when I was a kid, Legend, starring Tom Cruise, and I think her name's Mia Sara from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And it scared the living you-know-what out of me, because if you have not seen this movie, Tim Curry as what they say here is the Lord of Darkness, or I would call the devil, is the freakiest, coolest, most badass thing you may ever see. He is in this costume with these giant horns and this cape and just this like big muscly red bodysuit that is seriously absolutely terrifying. It's about I'm not even sure what you would call him. I honestly don't know if he's human or like I guess he is. I guess Tom Cruise's character is human. And he meets this girl in the forest, and she's not supposed to touch the unicorn. So in true female character trope, of course, she immediately goes and does what she's not supposed to do. And so the forest falls into long-lasting winter, and she is taken by the devil character into his lair, and Tom Cruise's character has to save everybody. And it has some really freaky goblins and fairies, and I think it's more of a look at fairy tales the way they were originally penned, rather than kind of our Disney-fication of them, where everybody's sparkly and sweet. This particular one has some interesting special features about the set that they made for the forest and how kind of dangerous that was. I want to say this one does not have the good song at the end. I think it's called Loved by the Sun. That might be in the UK version. But it's such a, oh, you gotta look it up. It's a great song, but it's not in every version of the film. And when you watch it and you're expecting it and then it's not there, it's a big letdown. So if you watch the movie, make sure that you get the really good, like, epic 80s ballad at the end. And if you don't, if it's just instrumental, you're missing out. We've got Little Women. I could watch this movie every day for the rest of my life. I'm not really sure why. I don't know. It's not that anybody in it is particularly great. I mean, Winona Ryder is definitely good. I do like her. I think she's a good actress. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that it's so cozy. Maybe it's because it kind of reminds me of like the Little House on the Prairie series. Just everything's by a campfire and lots of layers of petticoats and dresses and overcoats and things like that. But yeah, really, really good. So I didn't know a whole lot about the Beach Boys before I watched this movie. I had listened to the music a little bit. My sister had, discovered the classic Pet Sounds before I did. But you need to check this one out. It is expertly crafted around John Cusack and Paul Dano playing one of the members of the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson, playing him at different ages and stages in his life. And when I tell you that, it probably sounds like it can't work, but it really does. I don't know if they talked or not about linking some of their little character traits together to make it consistent, but even if they didn't, they certainly managed to do that. And one of my favorite Elizabeth Banks roles. I don't know a lot about her list of films, to be honest, but she does something a little different here as Brian's girlfriend when he's older, and really fighting to get him away from some people in his life that were not healthy for him. The first part of the film, where Paul Dano plays Brian, looks at the creation of a lot of their music. Pet Sounds, Good Vibrations, things like that, and a little bit of their relationship with their dad. So, really interesting. I would have watched another hour or two of it. I think they could have filmed even more, and it really is interesting. So, I have all 3 of the extended DVDs of the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy. I just pulled out the Fellowship of the Ring here for you. There's beautiful, beautiful art in this. I want to say their names are John Howe and Alan Lee, and I apologize if I get that wrong, but 2 of the main illustrators who were consulted as Tolkien experts, you could say, and just people that were consulted for looking at the design of the characters and the armor and the sets for Middle-earth are featured in here. Not only does this have a longer extended version of the films, but there's also hours and hours and hours of really great behind-the-scenes footage and cast interviews. If you have a rainy Saturday or Sunday sometime, it pays off to do a deep dive into the cast interviews. There's some really funny stuff with Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan, who play Merry and Pippin, and a lot of funny stuff about how Sean Astin really wanted to be, the leader of the hobbits and take care of everybody, and how they saw that going. Yeah, I would check that out. Lost in Translation with Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, directed by Sofia Coppola. I saw her other film about Marie Antoinette, and that's pretty good, but I think this is better. In fact, the first time I saw it, I thought there was a heck of a lot of hype about it, and I didn't really get it, to be honest. And maybe I was just too young the first time I saw it. But I do recommend it. I think it's got a very honest look at how sometimes you meet somebody and you're either not at the right stage for meeting them, or maybe the time that you meet them, what you give each other isn't a permanent place in each other's lives, but it's what you need at the time. And it's funny because Bill Murray plays an actor in the film, and he kind of portrays himself as his very Bill Murray-esque kooky character when he's doing promotional work for his films and different commercials and things. And then he becomes a much softer, quieter, kind of pensive person when he is being his true self. So that's kind of interesting to see him have kind of this meta-cognitive take on how we all see him, and a lot of the ways he's been taking roles in the last couple of years, just being this thing he portrays, and what is he really like when he's by himself, especially in a city that he's alone in. And I'm sure must happen a lot to actors. You just get shipped off to go do these interviews and these commercials and things, and it might be the most beautiful city ever, but if you are there alone, maybe not that exciting. So I've got Love Actually here. If you haven't seen this, it follows, 5 or 6 different narratives simultaneously, and they, as the film goes on, they interweave, and you realize that 2 characters are actually siblings, or that some of the kids in the movie go to the same school, or that somebody that was being talked about earlier at work is actually the main character in another story. So, if you if you have viewed this on TV the first time, you might not realize that one of the storylines, I can't think of his name at the moment, but he plays Bilbo, and he's on Sherlock Holmes, and he was in the Fargo TV series. His storyline's a little more interesting when you actually see the film than what I saw on TV the first time. Hugh Grant is classic Hugh Grant. There's a fantastic dancing scene. Colin Firth's, spoiler alert here, when he tries to woo his love interest by learning maybe Portuguese. Absolutely hilarious. Really, really funny. And the music just makes you bawl your eyes out. So if you need a good happy cry at the end, this is what you need. It is technically a Christmas movie, although very enjoyable any time of year. Mad Max Fury Road. So my dad was a big Mad Max fan, but I just couldn't really get into it as a kid. It was just kind of freaky and depressing to me. So I didn't really partake. But when I saw the commercials for this and how absolutely beautiful some of the backdrops were, and did a little more research on, oh golly, what's his name? George Miller's style, and realized that he was the what do I want to say, that he created 300, and how much I had enjoyed seeing that movie, although he wasn't the director of that, but still, just seeing how his visual style appealed to me, I knew I had to see this. And Tom Hardy says about 4 words in the whole movie, but it doesn't matter. Really, really, really wonderful. Every single frame has a purpose. There's nothing in this movie that doesn't directly cause something else later on in the movie. And when you watch it the second or third or fourth time, you can really pick up on those little things. I mean, you can tell that he, as a graphic novelist, would storyboard out every single frame in his mind, and thankfully that's how it was allowed to be shot. When you watch the special features, and if you look anything up on YouTube about it, you'll find out that there are some scenes that they got to go back and shoot after the studio saw how beautiful the first chunk of the movie was and gave them more money. And why you would ever even have to doubt that, I don't understand. I would be really bad at that job, because I would just give talented people like that unlimited budgets and get fired immediately. But fun fact about these last 2 movies, Nicholas Hoult, so weird Kevin Bacon connection. So Hugh Grant is in the movie about a boy with Nicholas Hoult, who plays, I want to say his name is Nux in this movie. So kind of weird little 6 degrees of separation there. And Charlize Theron is an absolute badass in that movie. Pulls off a shaved head gloriously. And man, do you just want her to get everything she ever wanted, because she deserves it, because she's a hard-working lady in that movie. To end on a silly little light note, one of my favorite movies from my childhood, The Muppets Take Manhattan. Also could be included in this is the Great Muppet Caper, another great one. I'm sure there are more, but those are the two I've seen. I hear good things about the Treasure Island one. I need to find that. But I'm just a big fan of these movies. I'm sure if I just saw them as an adult, I would not have the patience for them. But because I grew up with them, they're very near and dear to my heart. And in this one, Kermit and the gang are trying to get their Broadway show picked up, or their musical to be picked up to be played on Broadway. And they meet Jenny, and who I'm not sure who she's played by, and her dad, who's very funny, and just trying to go around and meet different people. And spoiler alert, Kermit gets hit by a car and has amnesia. And so once they finally get their big break, their lead man is missing. So they have to figure out how to find him and then how to bring him back. But the final show that they do is really sweet, and I love the music from that. I think this is, yeah, so this is the one where they can't afford to all stay in New York City while Kermit tries to sell the show, so they all go off and get different jobs. And it's very interesting to see what they all go off and do. And Piggy gets a job working at a makeup counter for a little bit with Joan Rivers, and it's really funny. Alrighty, I hope that wherever you are, you're having a good day, and I will see you again soon for another video. So have a great day. Bye-bye.